Progress in the southbound travel for Guangdong vehicle scheme. A 2.4% rise in Hong Kong's retail sales in May. And the U.S. Senate passes Donald Trump's tax cut and spending bill by the narrowest of margins. Good evening and thank you for joining us. The government has brought forward the rollout of the southbound travel of Guangdong vehicle scheme to November. Guangdong registered cars can hit the streets of Hong Kong within this year with a daily quota of 100. It has been 2 years since the launch of the northbound travel for Hong Kong vehicles arrangement, and now there is more clarity over the timeline of the southbound travel for Guangdong vehicle scheme. Hong Kong's Transport and Logistics Bureau said it is working with Guangdong authorities to iron out details of the arrangements. The goal is to open applications as early as November for those wishing to take flights via Hong Kong International Airport. Those driving eligible Guangdong registered private vehicles can enter via the Hong Kong-Zhuhai-Macau Bridge with prior reservation. The cars can be parked at the bridge's Hong Kong port, which offers 1,800 parking spaces with fully automated facility. Drivers and passengers can then take shuttle buses to the airport for direct check-in and baggage drop without going through immigration clearance to enter Hong Kong. The system is expected to handle at least 500 vehicles each day. At around the first half of next year, visitors wishing to stay in Hong Kong will be allowed to park their cars also on the artificial island. As for Guangdong vehicles entering Hong Kong's urban areas, vehicle inspections will be required with implementation expected within this year at a daily quota of 100.
We will facilitate and arrange the vehicle inspection in the Guangdong province. The drivers for these Guangdong vehicles, they are required to hold valid driving license in the Guangdong and mainland area. So, in other words, they are required to undergo very serious and robust procedures and checking as regards their capability to drive their own cars.
Authorities from both sides will discuss measures to deter traffic violations, and more information about Hong Kong traffic laws will be given to Guangdong drivers. These vehicles will likely be allowed to stay in the SAR for 3 days or more. Hong Kong's retail sales in May rose by 2.4% compared with the same period of last year. This marks the end of a 14-month decline. Provisional figures released by the Census and Statistics Department show the total sales in May rose to $31.3 billion. The government spokesperson says the city's consumption sentiment is expected to improve in tandem with the government's efforts in promoting tourism and increasing employment earnings. The last outlet of the superstar seafood restaurant chain located at the Mong Kok shopping mall in Mong Kok has announced its closure. At its peak, it had nearly 10 outlets. The restaurant was surrounded by fences on Wednesday morning. Some customers only found out about the closure when they arrived. A notice said the company had been actively seeking ways to increase revenue and reduce expenditure, but could not withstand a tough business environment and continued high rents. It had negotiated with the landlord many times, hoping to adjust the rent or suspend rent payment, but could not reach a consensus on the matter. The union said more than 10 employees were affected. Superstar's seafood restaurant chain was founded in 1989 and has won numerous awards over the years. Police have arrested a couple in connection with a fatal hit-and-run traffic accident in Yuen Long last night. The driver, believed to be the couple's grandson, reportedly remains at large. The accident left a 71-year-old male cyclist dead. The rider was struck by a private car at around 6:30 p.m. on Longping Road Tuesday night. The car fled the scene, where a license plate was eventually found. The victim sustained serious head injuries and was pronounced dead at Pok Oi Hospital. Tracking down the license plate number, police apprehended the vehicle's owner, a 57-year-old woman, and her 67-year-old husband. The car was allegedly driven at the time of the accident by their grandson. Police investigations are still underway. U.S. Senate Republicans passed President Donald Trump's tax cut and spending bill on Tuesday by the narrowest of margins, 50 to 51, with Vice President J.D. Vance casting the deciding vote. The bill now advances to the House of Representatives for approval. Trump wants to sign the bill into law by July 4th. If passed, the package would slash taxes, reduce social safety net programs, and boost military and immigration enforcement spending, while adding $3.3 trillion to national debt. Tracy Furness reports.
It was a turbulent overnight session in the US Senate Tuesday, but after nearly 27 hours of debate and 3 Republicans defecting to the Democrats' side to vote against the bill, there was a 50-50 vote tie. US Vice President J.D. Vance cast the deciding vote to pass the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill.
On this vote, the yeas are 50, the nays are 50. The Senate being evenly divided, the Vice President votes in the affirmative. The bill as amended is passed.
Trump's tax cuts and spending bill now heading back to the House of Representatives, where Trump is confident it will pass.
It's a great bill. There is something for everyone, and I think it's going to go very nicely in the House. Actually, I think it will be easier in the House than it was in the Senate.
Earlier, House Speaker Mike Johnson warned senators not to overhaul what his chamber had already approved, but the Senate did make changes which could impede the process.
In the end, there was a record number of amendments, with Democrats continuing to try to block this bill. The bill will still need to pass the House, and leaders are hesitant to say if they can do that by July 4th. If there are any changes made, it will have to be sent back to the Senate once again.
House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries said Tuesday that all legislative tools and options are on the table as Democrats strategize to prevent Republicans from giving final passage to Trump's tax cut and spending bill.
Donald Trump's one big ugly bill will hurt everyday Americans and reward their billionaire donors. Republicans are not the party of working class Americans. They are the party of the wealthy, the well-off, and the well-connected. Stop lying to the American people.
Tracy Furness, TVB News.
U.S. prosecutors have charged 2 Chinese nationals with acting as agents of China's security service. Yuan Te-chen, a U.S. permanent resident and leader in Lai, a tourist, were arrested last Friday. They were accused of gathering intelligence about U.S. Navy bases and trying to identify Navy members willing to spy for China. The U.S. Justice Department alleged that the 2 worked for China's Ministry of State Security. A Chinese embassy spokesman said he was not aware of this specific case, but called the allegations assumptions and speculations, accusing the U.S. of hypocrisy in its global intelligence operations. And still ahead, Trump talks up a possible 60-day Israel-Hamas ceasefire in Gaza. Air China launches its first international service using the domestically developed C909 jetliner. And an exhibition showcasing the use of AI and technology in education. Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump says Israel has agreed to a proposal for a 60-day ceasefire in Gaza. Hamas has responded that it is open to a plan that will clearly lead to a complete end to the war, though the group has not yet committed to the latest proposal. Trump has urged Hamas to agree before the situation in Gaza gets worse. David Garrett reports.
Flashes and bangs on the horizon in Gaza. Filmed from Israel, strikes as the Israeli Defense Forces hit Hamas targets. Another explosion off to the right as a war that has raged for around 20 months and killed over 55,000 continues. As this was happening, Donald Trump talking up a possible pause in fighting. The US leader posting that Israel has agreed to the conditions of what he called a final proposal for a 60-day ceasefire. Qatar and Egypt will deliver it to Hamas, Trump urging Hamas to take the deal before things get worse. The situation in the enclave has been dire for months. Hospitals are desperately short as Israel blocks international aid. At the Shifa hospital in Gaza City, a lack of fuel means generators don't work. It's forced dialysis machines to be switched off. 17-year-old Nora is at risk. She can't get the treatment her doctors say she needs. Fatima, only a few years older, is another struggling to cope amid shortages and blistering heat. She says we need care in every way. We are exhausted psychologically, physically, medically and nutritionally. There is no food in Gaza. And dozens die each day. These funerals in the southern Gazan city of Khan Yunis. With reports Israeli airstrikes have intensified, the nearby medical centre says more than 40 died in one day. Israel denies targeting civilians, accusing Hamas of using human shields. Trump has broadly supported his Middle East ally and their war in Gaza, which followed the 2023 October attack by Hamas. Israel's Prime Minister is due in Washington for talks next week, perhaps a sign of imminent peace, although Benjamin Netanyahu hasn't responded publicly to the latest proposal. David Garrett, TVB News.
State media CCTV revealed footage of China's J-20 stealth fighters responding to foreign provocations.
This is Chinese Imperial Air Force. You are approaching China's territorial airspace. Leave immediately. Leave immediately.
CCTV reported that several J-20 fighter jets issued warnings in English while driving away foreign military aircraft approaching Chinese airspace. The jets moved forward one by one to engage. After various aerial maneuvers, the foreign aircraft was expelled. Air China has launched its first international service using the domestically developed C909 jetliner, linking North China with Mongolia. The route offers 7 round-trip flights weekly between Hohhot, the capital of the Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, and Ulaanbaatar, the capital of Mongolia. Since receiving its first C909 aircraft in 2020, Air China has expanded its C909 fleet to 35 planes, which have collectively accumulated over 110,000 hours of flight. French President Emmanuel Macron and Russian leader Vladimir Putin held a phone call, their first for nearly 3 years. Most European countries have broken off diplomacy with Putin since his invasion of Ukraine. The chat lasted 2 hours with Macron and Putin primarily discussing the Iran-Israel ceasefire. Putin told Macron Iran should be allowed to develop peaceful nuclear energy. The French president informed Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky ahead of the call and asked Putin to negotiate a truce with Ukraine. The Kremlin says Putin told Macron it is Western policies causing the conflict, with European leaders ignoring Russia's security interests. Undersecretary for Health Libby Lee has been appointed as chief executive of the Hospital Authority, starting on August 1st for a 3-year term. She is taking over the role from outgoing Tony Ko. 53-year-old Lee joined the Hospital Authority after graduating from the Faculty of Medicine at the University of Hong Kong. She left HA in 2022 to join the Health Bureau. She hosted the COVID-19 press conferences multiple times and delivered public briefings on the recent 10 tobacco control measures. Department of Health consultant Cecilia Fan, meanwhile, will replace Lee as the new Undersecretary for Health starting on July 14th. She previously took part in disaster relief missions in Turkey. The incumbent Hospital Authority Chairman Henry Fan has been reappointed for a 1-year term with effect from December 1st, 2025. The government has reappointed Anthony Lau Chen-han as the new executive director of the Hong Kong Tourism Board. He will succeed Ding Chang and take office on August 4th. Lau has previously served as executive director of the Hong Kong Tourism Board from 2007 to 2019. He is currently the director of the government's Hong Kong Talent Engage, where he will work until the end of the month. Peter Lam, chairman of the Tourism Board, said Lau has strong experience in tourism and management and is the ideal person to be the Tourism Board's executive director. An exhibition showcasing the use of AI and technology in education is being held at the Convention and Exhibition Center until Friday. Samantha Lee tells us more.
The theme of 15th Learning and Teaching Expo is Education, a Shared Future for All. The expo features 600 exhibition booths displaying innovative teaching solutions by various technology companies and educational institutions from Hong Kong, the mainland, and overseas. This student was wearing a VR headset, giving him the experience of being in a drone, which helped him measure the perimeter of the Kai Tak Main Stadium, which he was tasked to do. He said the virtual flying excursion was very impressive, as he could survey the perimeter in only 2 minutes while enjoying stunning views. The Development Bureau joined hands with the construction sectors to roll out teaching materials which introduce science concepts by using Hong Kong infrastructure as real-life examples.
Take the Guangdong cross-bailing as an example. When we construct the cross-bailing the bridge, we use the floating method, so largely reduce the time for constructing and installing the bridge parts, and that actually makes use of the floating principles and all the waves science principles.
Secretary for Education Christine Choi said in her opening speech that the authorities always support integrating technologies into school curriculum. She hopes the expo can help bring more innovative technologies into classrooms. Apart from exhibition booths, the three-day event also features more than 270 keynote speeches, seminars, and demonstration classes to showcase the latest teaching solutions and technology trends. Samantha Lee, TVB News.
And that's the news. Thank you for watching.